Good morning, everyone. This is MightyStream, and today is August the 8th. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation. This is our Hood Recovery Services. And if you need to reach me, please do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Reach you early this morning. Many of you will be surprised that the podcast is up early. So hopefully that'll help you along your way and it'll make your day a little bit better and do what it can. Let's go ahead and get into that screen and let's read it. Okay, the title, Responsible Recovery. That word has been coming up a lot lately, responsibility. So responsible recovery, August 8th. We accept responsibility for our problems and see that we're equally responsible for our solutions. Basic text, page 97. Some of us, well accustomed to leaving our personal responsibilities to others, may attempt the same behavior in recovery. We quickly find out it doesn't work. For instance, we are considering making a change in our lives, so we call our sponsor and ask what we should do. Under the guise of seeking direction, we are actually asking our sponsor to assume responsibility for making decisions about our life. Or maybe we've been short with someone at a meeting. So we ask that person's best friend to make our apologies for us. Perhaps we've imposed on a friend several times in the last month to cover our service commitment. Could it be that we've asked a friend to analyze our behavior and identify our shortcomings rather than taking our own personal inventory? Recovery is something that has to be worked for. It isn't going to be handed to us on a silver platter, nor can we expect our friends or our sponsor to be responsible for the work we must do ourselves. We recover by making our own decisions, doing our own service, and working our own steps. By doing it for ourselves, we receive the rewards. Just for today, I accept responsibility for my life and my recovery. That meditation is a beautiful meditation. It's a fundamental meditation. And it's one sometimes that we don't, I want to say we don't really start talking about until we get into our fourth step when it comes to assets and responsibilities. Or we might run into it when we read the book on sponsorship. There is a book on sponsorship you can find on their website or the sponsorship IP. Because oftentimes, as it says here, is that we try to, in our disease of addiction, we tried to, it didn't work, but we tried to avoid responsibility. Then we get clean and we find out just how responsible we actually are for our actions, right? Even while in addiction, we have to own up to some of the things that we did. And some of those consequences aren't necessarily positive, right? They kind of hurt us even further. But at least we get them behind us. And the example would be there might be a warrant out for our arrest, and we know that. Now we're clean, right? We're clean and in the program, and it's still haunting us. Every time a police pulls up behind us or enters the building where we're at, we become concerned because we know that there's unresolved issues, right? And so in that sense, we should actually take responsibility for that warrant, turn ourselves in, and face the music. And I wouldn't do it, obviously, if I had a bunch of loose ends and I needed to tie them up with people so they know I might be gone. Do it, on a weekday so that you can appear before the judge the next day. Don't do it on a Friday, which means you're going to have to wait until Monday in a jail cell. So use some common sense, but you understand what I'm saying. We do sometimes have to face the music and take responsibility for our actions, because a lot of times we go around and say, well, I'm not responsible for my disease of addiction. I am responsible for my recovery. That's true. But there's some things that need to be cleaned up. And a lot of times we don't get to that until we actually get to our fourth step, right? And then we say, okay, how is it now that I'm going to actually change my behavior in recovery? Because I have people that ask me, not even necessarily sponsees all the time, but I have people that ask me my opinion about what they should do. And a lot of times I know that they're searching for, genuinely, they're searching for a helping hand, but they don't understand just how defunct their ability to be responsible for themselves is. So I'll lead them into a conversation of examining, the consequences of each decision they might make, teaching them what it is, not telling them, you know, not telling them, because that's only going to cause conflict. If I assume responsibility for their decision, and tell them what to do, then if it doesn't work, it's my fault, right? And unlikely, if it does work, it's probably not my fault. It would be something they came up with, but that's irrelevant, right? We don't want to put responsibility for our lives and our decisions on other people. That's part of becoming a recovering individual. So today I want you to, I'm not saying don't ask people what they think, but understand that the decision is going to come down to what you want to do. And for a group of people like ourselves who have spent so much time letting the drugs make the decision for us, it can be uncomfortable realizing that we are responsible. I was talking to someone the other day, and unfortunately and fortunately, this person, passed through a divorce, and the conversation was about her understanding her empowerment, her ability to be responsible for her own bills and make her own decisions and make her own contracts and arrangements for certain bills, and learning how to communicate. And it was just so beautiful to see that level of faith in herself develop, because at the end of the day, we are responsible, right, for our lives. And it's important that we know how to take care of ourselves. And it's so important that we know how to pay our bills, right? And have our discussions, our communications, our, connection with people that we've come to rely on in the community for certain things to run smoothly in our home. It's so beautiful to take ownership of that. Like I said, I don't necessarily pay everything on time, but I pay everything. And I make sure that they understand that I'm not ducking and dodging, right? I'm not ducking and dodging anyone, right? Not today. I don't answer random phone calls on my phone that say scam likely, right? If it's real important, I let people leave me a message. But typically, when it comes to being responsible for bills, I don't want my family to suffer because of poor management on my behalf. That's a big deal to me. I want you to start thinking about being responsible for your recovery, making your decisions in wisdom, right? If you don't have all of the necessary information to make the decision, Google it, YouTube it, pull some of your friends aside and have a discussion, and have lunch having the discussion or something. But just remember that we should accept the responsibility for our own lives and our recovery. And it will make you feel so much better. I promise you, it will. My name is MightyStream, and I am going to be talking to you tomorrow.